Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us at the 2025 GovFin pre-conference workshop. So the next 2.5 hours are designed to be interactive. We do encourage input, and our goal with this workshop setting is to help you get a better understanding of machine-readable data and how to render data into fully machine understandable format. So to kick us off, let's start with the agenda. And first, I'd like to welcome to the stage Jerry Boaz with Eide Bailly, Janine Hathcock, who's also with Eide Bailly, and Yossi Newman with Touro University. This team is going to be covering data standards and terminology and navigating the taxonomy. And then we'll take some CPE questions. We'll then move on to demonstrations. And our demonstrations, we're going to have Isabella Wall from NovaWorks, Stephen Horowitz from NovaWorks, Anand Padmanabhan, Suchita Goyal, and Sujit Rathod, all from Irish Business Services, who are going to give us a demonstration. And then last, we'll have Margaret Walthall, who's with the University of Michigan. After the demonstrations, we'll go on to a few CPE questions. We'll then go to an exercise and breakout discussions. And each of you you're all going to be assigned to individual teams. So we'll have 4 different teams, and you'll be moved automatically into those groups. And those will be covered by Group 1, which is going to be Jerry Bowes from Eide Bailly, Mark Jaffe from the Center for Municipal Finance. Group 2 is Yossi Newman and Stephanie Leiser from the University of Michigan. Group 3 is going to be Janine Hathcock and myself. And Group 4 will be Anand, Margaret, and Christine Kugelin from the University of Denver. Then the last portion of the workshop is going to be using machine-readable data. And Campbell Pride is going to give us a review there. And then we'll go to some final CPE questions before we close the workshop. And then we'll be ready to move on to the start of the official start of the conference. So thanks very much for joining us. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera. And then I'm going to turn it over to Yossi Newman, who's going to walk us through some of the basics. So Yossi.
Thank you, Michelle, and welcome. Good morning. And I think good morning covers it for most of the participants, maybe good very early morning for some of you. And happy to start us off, lead us into the conversation today, and that carries over into tomorrow around some basic terminologies and concepts relating to data standards, XBRL, and then how they might relate to governmental reporting. So to start with, the focus here is all about data standards. Data standards are agreed upon rules and structures that describe the information, the data that you would find in a financial report. It defines the information in the report and how it's organized. It helps you constrain what type of information should be tagged and how it's tagged. And so there's a couple of things to understand when we talk about data standards. Data standards are often referred to as or thought of as a dictionary of business or organizational reporting terms. And that's a good way to start thinking about them. But in addition to being a dictionary, they're actually more like a set of rules for defining a language, for the grammar and the structure that you use to communicate whatever it is that we're trying to share from an information perspective. They, in fact, might be thought of also as even a sort of a thesaurus that tell you how the various things you're communicating in your report might relate to each other. Michelle, if you can advance the slide there. Thanks. So some key terminology, some terms that tend to overlap and may have some slightly different uses, but to level set and make sure we're all on the same page here. The first thing you might want to think about in terms of XBRL, in terms of data standards, would be a fact. Now, what we mean when we say a fact is the information that you're trying to communicate. This might be an account balance. It might be a table of information. It might be a paragraph, a sentence, or a page of text. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do once you have that fact and you want to communicate it in a structured data format is to select what we might call a concept or an element from a reporting taxonomy. Now, again, that reporting taxonomy can be thought of as a data dictionary, the list of key terms that you would use in populating your report. And then once you have that key definition for the item you're trying to communicate, you're going to want to go through a process called tagging. Now, if you take a look at the bottom of the slide here, where we have a snippet from a governmental fund's balance sheet, what you'll see is that there's a lot of information that we can understand as human beings. And the first thing you would do, for example, if we were looking at the number toward the middle on the left, the $5,701,208, you'd want to select the concept, the element to define it, to describe it, and that would be accounts receivable. You'd find that would be available to you in a taxonomy, and we'll hear more about taxonomies and how you find your way around and navigate a taxonomy shortly. But you would find the tag for the concept, the element for accounts receivable. And that's where you would start to your tagging process for this piece of information, this fact, the 5,701,208 that you'd like to communicate. But just calling it accounts receivable is not enough for a machine or a human being to fully understand what you're trying to say. You would also need to associate that with additional information. For example, that this accounts receivable balance relates to the general fund, that it was the balance as of June 30th, 2023. It's being reported by the city of Burlingame, California, and that it's in US dollars. In fact, if you chose to, you might even want to communicate the fact that this accounts receivable balance was being reported under the modified accrual basis of accounting. Next slide, please. I'm not sure if we lost the slides there, but hopefully we can keep going with that. Moving on, and I don't know if we can see the slides now or not, but I'll go on to describe the next key term that we would have is a taxonomy. So talking about what a taxonomy is, it's an electronic dictionary of business terms for a particular reporting situation. Most of us here are interested in the taxonomy that is being developed for governmental reporting standards, but there are many other taxonomies for other sorts of business or organizational reporting as well. For example, the FASB maintains a taxonomy that's used by SEC registrants to submit XBRL or machine-readable financial statements to the Commission. The IASB over in London maintains the IFRS taxonomy for companies reporting under those standards. And in fact, there are many other reporting taxonomies as well. For example, the FDIC has a taxonomy that's used by US banks to prepare their quarterly reporting reports. And over in England, you've got taxonomies with the Companies House and the HMRC, the local equivalent of the IRS, for tax reporting and for financial reporting, respectively. Now, each of these is a data dictionary to be used in that kind of circumstance for those sorts of reports. Another key term within the, data standards and within XBRL reporting is an instance document. An instance document might sound like a bit of a mystical word, but the instance document is the actual collection of information for a particular report on a particular period for a specific company or organization. So whereas the taxonomy is that data dictionary, the instance report combined with the taxonomy would then be the expression of your financial statements, your ACFR, if you will. And a couple of other points that I'd like to make in particular is that a taxonomy does not impose reporting rules or define accounting standards. What a taxonomy does is it organizes existing rules or existing data standards in a machine-readable and often machine-understandable way. This allows for more advanced automation. It enhances validation, and it can help with reducing ambiguity and clarifying the meaning of things being reported. Next slide, please. So in terms of the impact on governments, there are a number of things you can see here on the slide. For example, greater clarity around the meaning of the items that you're reporting, some automation and validation. But let's make this a little bit more real. Many municipalities, many governments or special purpose entities will have, for example, multiple reporting requirements. It's entirely possible that properly implemented structured data, the use of a taxonomy, the use of XBRL could reduce the burden potentially, where you might be able to have one report that could be used multiple times for different purposes. Maybe more importantly would be the validation. When you're reporting in structured data, there is the opportunity to do a lot of validation that would be a little bit more difficult if you're in a manual traditional reporting environment. So, for example, the FDIC in its regulation of banks, once they went to XBRL about 20 years ago, enabled functionality where prior to submitting a report, banks would get warnings to confirm that the intended reporting amounts were correct. And so you can have pre-validation that is enabled by XBRL taxonomies that can save a lot of heartache and time further down the line. Next slide, please, Michelle. In terms of data users, I think that these benefits tend to be very straightforward. By having a taxonomy in place, it's something that you can then develop analysis around. You can have predictable data. You know what the definitions are when things are reported using particular tags. You can decide as a data analyst how you want to treat that, how you want to validate that, and so on. So I believe we've got one more slide there, Michelle. Was that it? No, okay, so we can stick around with this one. So in either case, the points that to take away are that you've got a taxonomy, that's your data dictionary. This allows you to build potential validation, potential automation. It allows for more accuracy, more clarity, and it does not change the content of the report. It does not necessarily alter anything about accounting standards or existing reporting requirements. And again, hopefully that gives you a basic idea of some of the terminology and concepts that we will be building on. At this point, I think I'm going to turn it over to take us a little deeper into the taxonomy, what it looks like, and how we will find a way around it. We'll be handing over to Jerry Boaz, who is the director in the Government Advisory Services practice at Eide Bailly, along with Janine Hancock, a partner in Eide Bailly's governmental auditing practice, who's got extensive experience around accounting for governmental entities and served for 2 years at the GASB as a accounting fellow. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Yossi. We appreciate that introduction and all the great information that you provided us. It definitely gives us a good understanding of the benefits of the taxonomy. To the audience, I'm going to start with just a little bit of an introduction to what the GRIP taxonomy is, and then turn it over to Janine to discuss the differences between GRIP and the GASB taxonomy that GASB is currently working on. And then we'll come back to the taxonomy viewer that Yossi mentioned and dive a little bit deeper into what that looks like and how it's beneficial. And then once we get to the breakout sessions, we'll dive even deeper into it. So first and foremost, what is GRIP? GRIP is the Government Reporting Information Package taxonomy. It was created by an XBRL US working group that was made up of government accountants, municipal securities analysts, academics in the public sector, and software providers as a way to demonstrate how open data standards can be used to support digital, machine-readable reporting by state and local governments. This is the key to all of the taxonomy, is that it's digital and machine-readable. Therefore, it takes unstructured data and makes it structured so you can do further data analytics on it. So it provides a really key benefit to that first step in true understanding of the information that we have. So Janine, if you want to go ahead and jump into the differences of the two, I'll turn it over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jerry. So just a little bit of background first. GRIP includes some elements that represent selected statements from like our annual comprehensive financial report or ACFR. They have the single audit package and then other certain grant reports. Now, the single audit and the grant reporting sections of this taxonomy are designed to support the Grants Reporting Efficiency and Transparency Act, or GREAT. Now, the ACFR portion of GRIP is then focused on core financial concepts. So, again, a little bit of background on GRIP taxonomy, as Jerry mentioned, this taxonomy was a community developed taxonomy. It was created by this XBRL working group. They took what they had and published the working draft that they had created for public review to gather some additional stakeholder feedback. And it was a pretty successful process as they received feedback that was submitted by credit analysts, government finance officers, and the GASB. And then once the working group was able to consolidate all that feedback, it was then incorporated back into the GRIP taxonomy. So in the meantime, GASB was investigating digital reporting of government financials, and even some of the GASB staff were observers to that XBRL committee. So GASB, as we all know, is our accounting standard setter and for our government environment, and is our authoritative source for GAAP reporting. And so GASB is now developing their own taxonomy, and we do expect that they're going to be soliciting input from the public through their due process. Next slide, please. Right. So let's talk about the differences between the two. Now, we're going to concentrate on the annual comprehensive financial report side of GRIP, since that's what GASB covers. No sense in comparing the other two GRIP elements for single audit and other grant reports, since GASB doesn't set standards for either one of those two. It wouldn't be much to compare there. But in our first column here, we do detail out the characteristics of GRIP. So the purpose of this ACFR portion of GRIP is to support standardized machine-readable financial reporting by our state and local governments. And the GRIP taxonomy covers 7 statements. So we've got a balance sheet and income statement for our government-wide entities, our balance sheet and income statement for our governmental fund entities, and then a balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow statement for our proprietary funds. So it also covers 4 of our footnotes. It covers pensions, OPEB, long-term debt, and capital assets. So the structure of the taxonomy is to align with the core financial concepts, although it doesn't cover the full complexity of GAAP, obviously. I'm very limited to those statements and footnotes. But it is a demonstration to show how our data standards can be developed in order to accommodate general purpose governments along with our special districts. So our second column here details out the characteristics of GASB's digital taxonomy. Now, GASB started their project and they called it Voluntary Digital Financial Reporting to develop one or more of our governmental digital taxonomies for GAAP financial reporting. The taxonomies that may result from this effort could be used by our governments on a voluntary basis to report their GAAP financial statements in a digital format. Now, the plan is to cover the full breadth of GAAP compliance financial statements, which will mirror our audited financial reports. And GASB does state on their website that the taxonomy could be used for governments on a voluntary basis. And later on in our conference, Paulina Haro from the GASB is going to give us an update on the GASB GAAP taxonomy, so I'd make sure to sit in on her session. And with that, I'll pass it to Jerry to kind of take us through an example here.
Okay, thank you, Janine. Okay, so now what we're going to do is explore or navigate, or how to navigate the taxonomy viewer here. So one thing that you'll notice right off the bat is that if you're a super user of GASB financials, or a super preparer, or you have some knowledge of governmental accounting and financial reporting, the one thing that you're going to notice on the left side is that it's broken down by the different portions of a financial statement. You'll see the different statements, you'll see the different elements and the different concepts that are contained within the presentation on the face of the financial statements. So what this tool allows for is it's a versatile review tool for viewing and commenting on the XBRL taxonomies. So one of the things that you'll first need to do before you get to this page, if you haven't already registered or signed up, you'll need to do that so that when you log in, you'll have access to this. As you see on the screen here, it's easy to do. It takes no time whatsoever. And then once you have access, then you'll be able to. Then what you'll want to do is click on the ACFR option here, the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, and this will allow you to dig deeper into the different concepts, elements, facts, etc., that'll allow you to discover information about a particular element. So first and foremost, you see on this slide, the first thing you'll notice is the 1 series, the 2 series, the 3 series. Those represent different financial statements. So the 1 series is going to represent the government-wide statement of net position. The 2 series will represent the government-wide statement of activities. And then the 3 series will represent the other financial statements, and in this case, the governmental fund balance sheet, for instance, and on and on and on. And so you can see that for like the 100-100 statement of net position, you have other current assets, and then you can go into the details. The plus sign that you see there allows you, just like anything else, allows you to expand that particular area of the presentation and see what other concepts and elements are included in that. You'll also see, if you're really familiar with the presentation and accounting and financial reporting of GASB and governmental accounting, then you will be able to pretty much directly go to where you know the elements are supposed to be. But if you're not that comfortable with it, then one thing that you could do is go down to the search feature, and the search feature allows you to type in, like we have here, say inventory, and it'll give you the highest ranked items that will fit in your search criteria. And so you can see in the search here, inventory is the reference. It's also the element label. It is the matched value. And when you click on it, it will take you directly there. So it'll also give you details about the concept details. And what that will explain is it'll display the labels, the values, the definitions, and the properties of the selected element. So when you look at it here, you see that, okay, inventory is an asset, and it will define what that means. So it's resources. So the documentation is the resource with present service capacity that the government presently controls. That's what the definition of an asset is. So it's demonstrating the reference to the applicable GASB concept statement where that label should show up. It also shows that it is a debit balance, as you can see in the first box on the right. So it has specific information that it's telling you about it. And it also will then show, okay, it's in this case, it's showing up in the non-current asset. So there will be some inventory that probably has longer term use. It also could be that you're also going to see it in the current assets. So there's different aspects of it that you would note as you go to the different relationships. And in the relationships, that's going to show you how the concepts are linked to the parent-child relationship, the parent being the overall assets, and then the child relationship, current, non-current, statement of net position, and then also so at the statement of net position, that's at the government-wide level. It will also show you how it also shows up in the proprietary funds statement of net position as well. And then also it will show the how all of these relationships here typically should have the same balances, But if they don't, it will do a check for you to see that there could be some differences. And some of those differences, as Yossi indicated before, could be it's a difference in the accrual basis versus the modified accrual basis. And then we can see in the further in the details tab, the XBRL attributes. You can see how the concept is defined. And then you can see some of the other standard and non-standard groups and roles that play a part in this. The other part is the tree location in the far right tab. These concepts are often in more than one place in a single XBRL taxonomy. So what that's going to show you again is that as I showed you, it's in the government-wide, it can be in the proprietary, so it can show up in different locations. And how you tag that information is going to be crucial to show that it has multiple different relationships. So that's how in the tagging process, and we'll talk more about that later on in the breakout sessions and how that all works, and we'll work through how what all information you would want to include to ensure it includes all the information it needs to have to so you can do the analysis that's necessary. Let's see, I think is there next slide, I think. Yeah, I think that's all. So just as a kind of a summary, what the viewer will do is it kind of empowers governments to ensure that their financial reporting taxonomies are clear, accurate, and collaborative. And so it just, again, it provides that first step for consistency and accuracy in financial reporting. And I think, Michelle, was there anything else that you wanted to provide that you felt was important that we didn't cover?
Yeah, no, that was great, Jerry. Thank you so much. I think we're going to go on to some CPE questions now. So I want to thank Jerry and Janine and Yossi for their presentations, giving a little bit of background on XBRL and on the taxonomy viewer and on the various taxonomies that are out there right now. You know, the GRIP taxonomy, which is kind of a demonstration taxonomy, which is what we're going to be working with, and then the GASB taxonomy, which is the authoritative source. And you'll be hearing a lot more about that later when Paulina has an opportunity to speak. But first, we're going to cover CPE questions. And I want to mention, in order to participate in breakouts and earn CPE, you'll need to use the latest Zoom client. So check our reminder messages for the download link to make sure that you have access to that and can use this appropriately. So we're gonna look at 3 CPE questions, and I have just launched the CPE poll, number 1. Hopefully you can see this. Which of the following best defines a concept? Okay, and you can choose between a data point, which can be numeric, monetary, or text, or is it an XBRL element used to report a reported data point, or is it a digital collection of terms, which best describes what we mean when we say a concept? And we'll give you a few more minutes for that. Okay, about actually not a few more minutes, about 15 seconds now. So if you are getting CPE, please make sure that you respond to this question. Okay, just about 5 seconds here. I'm going to end the poll and go on to our next CPE question. All right, thank you very much for answering. And the answer is, what is a concept? It's an XBRL element. So, all right. Share the results so you can see what everybody else is saying. And we'll go on to our next poll question. Okay, what does ACFR stand for? Is it Annual Comprehensive Financial Report? Is it annual consolidated financial report, or is it annual comprehensive financing report? Which of those answers is the correct terminology for ACFR? All right, we've got about 30 seconds here. And we're going to do one more poll right after this one. So get ready for that one. About 15 seconds. All right, about 5 seconds. We're going to end this poll. All right. And the answer, which I think most of you knew, is annual comprehensive financial report. All right, so let's go to the poll number 3. And for some reason it is, oh, let me go back and stop sharing that one, I think. There we go. All righty. Okay, our last poll for right now is, which of the following best describes a taxonomy? Is it a digital dictionary of terms? Is it an electronic file representing a financial statement? Or is it a value reported on a financial statement? Which is the best definition for a taxonomy? Okay, about 30 seconds. Okay, about 15 seconds. Okay, 5 seconds. And all righty, okay, we're gonna end this poll. And I'll share the results. And the best answer, the correct answer was digital dictionary of terms. And I think most of you got that correct. So thank you very much. And now I am going to stop sharing my screen and we're going to start talking about our next portion of the event today. We're now going to go on to demonstrations. And the demonstration, we're going to show you 3 different demonstrations. And this is designed to help you further understand how XBRL preparation, also called tagging, as you heard earlier from Yossi, how that works. And this will also give you an opportunity to see a number of different types of products. And obviously there are lots of products on the market. These are just 3, but it gives you 3 different ways of preparing a document in machine readable, machine understandable format. So, and while one of the tools is actually open source, that was created specifically for ACFR reporting, the other tools that you'll see are also used for other types of financial statement reporting. So that's the whole beauty of standardization, is that you can create, a software company can create a single tool and use it for lots of different types of entities. That's what keeps prices low. So I want to welcome up to the stage our first presenter, actually 2 presenters. We're going to have NovaWorks present. We're going to have Isabella Wall and Steve Horowitz. So if you guys can come on up, and I'm going to head backstage and let you share your screen and start your presentation. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. All right. Getting started today. Thank you. My name is Isabella Wall, and we'll be discussing digital government reporting in GoFiler. We'll be discussing digital government reporting in GoFiler. And our second speaker today will be Stephen Horowitz, who is the Vice President of Account Services over at NovaWorks, and he'll be doing the demo for us today. So getting started. On our agenda, we'll be covering 4 topics of assessing the needs of a smaller municipality and thinking about the specific needs of smaller municipal finance officers and their offices. Then the second topic will be evaluating the workflow for an ACFR. And the third topic will be thinking about what implementing XBRL in the current ACFR workflow process could look like. And then the fourth topic will be a demonstration of grip tagging in GoFiler. So just to start, I'd like to kind of ask a few questions and have those in your mind of, that you in the audience, if you're a, financial officer, a comptroller, an accountant, you'll most likely be the person having to implement, a change like this and implement structured data at your company. So you'll be the ones, learning and making that decision process. And so there, of course, will be some concerns raised, but going over those. Um, so when implementing a smaller entity, you might have concerns about having limited time, so that you say, oh, perhaps we don't have enough time to handle this process. We're already, busy. And then perhaps limited resources. So you can't upgrade like your entire system, worrying about, that this would require some sort of, computer overhaul, or that your, team might be somewhat smaller and you can't handle hiring any more staff, or training them. But I would put all these, answer all these questions by looking at previous transitions at the SEC when XBRL was implemented. And so looking at that process, that has been a smooth process over there, and that it can be very easy. So if you look at your workflow and find the points that XBRL integration, it's a very versatile tool and very versatile technology, and it can be integrated easily at many different points. And we at NovaWorks have, trained people. I mean, there's been certain for, smaller reporting companies where it's just been one person that, they were an accountant for this company and they were trained to work in XBRL. And so it was just a simple addition to their workflow process, and they were able to handle it for years and years at the company. So I would encourage everyone to think about the workflow of your ACFR and the development of it. So begin by thinking about what format does your data begin in. Um, you know, what where what ERP system that you're using, what does it generate? Is it importing from Excel and then exporting? Are you how is your data being stored and kept? Your team is probably most likely familiar with Microsoft Word and Excel, and those are, as we've seen, very compatible points of integration with XBRL. And so you can think about what changes could be made to make your data more transportable. Just thinking about, okay, it would be easier to change something here versus somewhere else. Currently, all filings done to Emma are done in PDF, and iXBRL works in HTML. So starting with the Word document, it's far easier to convert to HTML from there. And then how much time are you dedicating to um, the ACFR presentation or the ACFR report to begin with? And so thinking about where it would fit in that workflow process, and that it doesn't have to be a burden, it actually brings a lot of benefits. So then when we think about implementing XBRL already in our software GoFiler, we have the grip taxonomy implemented already. And while it's not a taxonomy that's, officially had rulemaking decided on, you can play around and see and convert your reports from there. And that's what we'll have Stephen doing here soon. So a brief demonstration from Stephen of GoFiler.
Thank you for that introduction, Isabel. Let me just share my screen here. Okay, so we should be able to see GoFiler available here. So this is our GoFiler software application. This has been in use for the past 15 years for, tagging all sorts of financial reports for IFRS, US GAAP, and other more esoteric taxonomies. It uses Word documents as a source for most of its conversions. So if we want to tag an ACFR report with grip, we could start that by going to Open and just pulling up an ACFR report. So I have a sample here from the city of Rochester, New York. This is just their balance sheet, but we can convert it directly from Word into HTML, which is the format you would need to embed inline XBRL into. So we'll save that output as an ACFR report. Just converts it from Word to HTML. And here is our document converted. The software itself, after converting, you could tag this as is. Generally, you want to financialize it so you can polish tables to make them look a little bit neater. Just have to specify what, row content starts at on the table, but it'll, add table striping, make things look neater. The software itself is an HTML editor, so you can go ahead and pretty things up by just centering things with hotkeys if you want to do that, or add in more formatting niceties. But in general, it's just a freeform HTML editor, very similar to Microsoft Word or any other application for editing documents. But you would do this for the entire document, not just the balance sheet. We're doing a balance sheet as an example. Once we have our document that looks nice and pretty, we can go ahead and start the tagging process. In GoFiler, we use an intermediate format called XDX. It allows you to embed the data directly into the HTML without having to worry about multiple different files. Normal XBRL has several link-based files you have to worry about as well. XDX compresses that into one and allows you to tag directly in the file. So to start that process, we just go to our XDX report. We would choose taxonomy to just pick a taxonomy to use for this. So it defaults to GAP because that's the most common application use of our application. We're just going to switch that to the 2022 GRIP taxonomy. You can pick an entry point into the taxonomy. Michigan has an entry point they were working on here. So this is the example we're using at the moment. We can go ahead and hit next. You have to enter some additional information. This is specific to the SEC because most of the time, the SEC is our primary use case, but it's just asking for defaults for the namespace of the document. So I'll just put in some dummy information in here. The period, we would just say it's 6/30/2023. And the domain is usually just the website of the company. And the stock ticker is just an identifier. It doesn't have to be a stock ticker symbol. Just any 3 or 4 letter identifier works. The period of the report would be the fiscal year ended 6/30/2023. So 7/1/2023. Very important when doing XBRL. The fiscal year is the first of a month to the end of the next end of the month. So it's always 7/1 to 6/30. Yeah, it's 2022. That's why. There we go. When you're doing XBRL, every fact is going to have a unit associated with it. This just sets up some defaults. The default for monetary is US dollars. Default for shares is shares. Very simple stuff. If you have additional unit types you have to add for specific use cases, like an integer with number of buildings, you can add additional units. We don't have a cover page tag, so we don't have to do any automatic tagging on that, and we're doing just a single file, so we can hit finish. And our document is now set up to tag with the GRIP 2022 taxonomy. There are a couple of different ways you can tag things. You can do row and column tagging. You can apply templates to auto tag certain segments of tables. But the simplest and easiest to demonstrate is just applying individual tags to individual numbers. This isn't the only way to do it, but it's probably the simplest way to explain. So if I wanted to tag cash and cash equivalents under governmental activities, I can go ahead and put my cursor on that number, go over to my markup toolbar, and just do a block fact, which tags that table cell with a fact value. If I know the name of the element, I can type it in here. If I don't know the name of the element, I can go ahead and use my search tool to search through the taxonomy. I can use the tree view, which is very similar to the Yeti viewer. It'll display all the available presentations. So if I'm looking for a statement of financial position, I can go ahead and find, let's see, statement of financial position. Or I can just search using search terms for cash and cash equivalents, then I can go to the tree view and it will show me where in that tree view it is. So yeah, under statement net position, it's way down in the tree view, but it's right here. So under cash and cash equivalents, I can see them in the right area of the taxonomy by looking up in the tree. So I can see I'm in my correct area of the tree. I'm in cash. That's fine. So we can use that element. We hit OK. It sets the properties for it. The default is going to be unit monetary, so it's going to be US dollars. It is an instant fact, so it's as of a specific point in time. So I can go ahead and hit next. And I want to make sure that I use the correct date. So this date would be for 6/30/2023. And I have to apply a dimension to it here as well. So you can think of dimensions in XBRL as just a way of differentiating similar facts. I have to use a dimension because I'm going to have cash and cash equivalents multiple times for the same date. One's for governmental activities, one's for business type activities. And I don't want to have two facts with the same properties, otherwise they'll collide. I have to differentiate them somehow. So I can go ahead and use my search tool, and I can look for an appropriate axis. So there's type of government unit axis, which is what I would want to use in this case, because there's governmental activities and business type activities. So I can use that axis to differentiate them. And I can pick so that's the type of thing I'm differentiating. The member will be the specific value I'm differentiating. So this is governmental activities member. And I can use the tree view to double check to make sure I type that in correctly. If it finds the element in the tree, it means yes, you typed it in correctly. It is a valid value in the taxonomy. You can hit add and just hit next and finish. Now that fact has been tagged. I can repeat that process for my business type activities. Just do a block fact. I could go ahead and pick my previously used element, so I don't have to search for it again. Hit next. I can go ahead and pick my previously used date and context, copy the properties, and I'd have to change this member from governmental activities to business type activities. So I could either type it in, or I could use the tree view to pick business type activities, or I could search for search terms either way. So business type activities is what I would want to use here. I can apply that change, hit next, and finish. GoFiler does also let you copy paste facts. So I could copy this tag and I could paste it over into my total column. I still need to change the properties of it though after copy pasting. Otherwise I would have, duplicate facts. I can't very well say these two facts are equivalent by having the same properties when they're different numbers. So I can go ahead and edit my block fact, and I could change the context. Instead of using a specific, type of unit axis, this would not have a type of unit because it's just a generic total. So the total of multiple dimensions is generally going to be a non-dimensional total. So I can remove that dimension and hit OK. So now I have my total properly tagged. So what we've done is XDX tag 3 facts. After applying this tagging in GoFiler, I can go ahead and go to my iXBRL toolbar and run create iXBRL. That will go ahead and read these tags and spit out the actual inline XBRL data set. So no errors, it converted correctly. In my actual main folder now, I would have, we can go and look at that, see what that looks like. Actually, I don't know if you can see that dialog, I'm only sharing GoFiler. But yeah, it's not showing because I'm only in GoFiler, but it does create the XBRL file set. We can see these files are tagged correctly. They're highlighted in yellow now, so that lets us know that, yes, we have these tags properly tagged in iXBRL. If we wanted to add additional tags, we could at any point in time go to iXBRL, remove the tagging, the iXBRL tagging, and then continue using that XDX mark function. So I could go back to markup, I go to investments, I go to block fact, and I could repeat that process for every fact here. But I believe that is our time for our demo. So back to you.
Yeah, Stephen, Isabella, thank you so much. That was great, really helpful. Okay, we are all running a little bit late, so I'm going to bring our next speakers up to the stage, and we have the team from Iris, Anand, and Sujit. So come join us, and I'm going to head backstage and watch your session. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Oh, I will keep the presentation brief and focused as we have only a few minutes. Okay. So today we are going to explore how IRIS is redefining the landscape of ACFR compliance. We will introduce the IRIS Instant, our AI-powered solution for efficient and error-free XBRL tagging. So Iris has over a decade of global XBRL expertise. We offer tailored tools and services to meet the regulatory requirements. Our solution supports end-to-end compliance from tagging to validations and final submission. Traditional compliances process can be time consuming and complex. Our goal at Iris is to streamline this workflow. With Iris Instant, we automate repetitive tagging, simplify the interface, and reduce filing turnaround time significantly. Iris Instant is our proprietary platform designed to make XBRL tagging effortless. It uses advanced machine learning models trained on vast datasets. The tool intelligently automates tagging and provides a seamless user experience. And the word automate is important for you. Let me highlight some key features. So auto tagging powered by AI, smart suggestion for faster review, real-time validations of element and structure, integration with web form to embed element directly in the reports. So it is very intuitive and accessible even to those with little XBRL knowledge. So using Iris Instant, it is a very straightforward three-step process. So user just have to upload the report, the PDF document. You can review and edit the document using the web form and just click on generate button and the validated instance XBRL output will get generated. So why choose Iris Instant? Automation minimizes manual tagging and reduces errors. Embedded XBRL tags in web form lead to fewer rejections, drastically reduces processing time from hours to minutes, and no need for XBRL expertise, easy for finance professionals to use. So now let me walk through the demo.
While Sujit brings his screen up with the demo, I would just like to add the process of getting the AI to work efficiently is to train the AI engine. Now, more and more financial statements act first, process through the and train and get the AI engine trained will make it a lot more efficient. So we have at the moment only used about 20 documents, and therefore the level of efficiency will be far less. But typically, when we introduce the platform for a new mandate, we put the AI engine through at least 200 documents and get it to understand the complexity of the documents, the variations in the documents, and to be able to automatically pick up the right data set and map it to the right tag. So you will see the demo as Sujit takes you through the various steps. Over to you, Sujit.
Yeah, thank you, Anand. So now this is our application. So Iris Instant is a web-based application that requires users to sign in to access the system. Now let me show the process how filing package is to be created using the application. So for that, user just have to click on single upload button. And here we have ACFR. And for the demo, the taxonomy used is the 2022 version single audit. And the company report which we are going to use is Ogemaw, County of Ogemaw, Michigan. And I will click on continue. Once I click on continue, I get the option to enter the date. And I also have the document which we are going to upload. So this is the actual PDF document, the report for the September 30, 2022 date. So in this, I will select the start date, which is 2021, October 1st. And end date of the document is September. And I will click on upload file. So in this, when I click on upload file, I have to select the PDF document which we are using for tagging. Click on open button. So now it is getting loaded. Once it has become green, I just have to click on upload button. Okay, so you can see pending for conversion. So I will go to filing history. So the process of conversion takes around 1 to 2 minutes for processing the document. So while processing, it will identify the data from the PDF document. It will go and read each and every page of the document. It will identify the data as per the taxonomy, and it will extract the data and populate directly automatically in the web form. So in the interest of time, what I will do, I will open the already uploaded document here. So I will click on web form. Now, what is web form? Web form, through web form, user can edit the data, he can review the data and do the required changes. Because as the application is based on artificial intelligence, okay, there will be something which has been missed or which has been incorrectly tagged. User can review the data and do the required changes and generate the document. So first, let me show you the feature here, the audit copy. So it is getting loaded now. So here we can see the audit copy. So this basically gives a quick view of the report, what is tagged by the application. So this is the report. So I will go to page 15. So here you can see that it has been highlighted as green. So green means the application was able to identify this data and it has been captured in the application. So now let me take you to the disclosure. And on the left hand side, we can see all the disclosures which are available in the taxonomy. And the green mark identifies, it highlights the data being captured in the particular ELR, in the particular disclosure. Okay. So now we are at statement of net position. Okay, now we can see the value here, cash and cash equivalent. Okay, so what we have done, we have just uploaded the PDF document and the application automatically captures all this value. Now, as a user, if I want to check this again, I have the PDF document with me, or else I can just double click here and it will open, it will highlight the value in green and it will give me this. You can see the cash and cash equivalent and the value being tagged by the application itself. Now, what if the application missed something, right? It is based on AI and machine learning. So if something is new in the document, which has not been yet fed to the application, so how the user can do the tagging in that case? He has to go to the blank cell, any blank cell. And then you can see the application has changed from the PDF document to an HTML document. It has converted the PDF document into an HTML so that it can be easily tagged. So as a user, I can select this one, this value. If I want to do the summation of more than one concept into a single concept, I can select multiple values also. Okay. If as a user, I want to capture the values for all the columns. Okay. I can select all the columns and I can say apply to columns. When I click to apply to columns, it will get applicable to all the columns. Similarly, if I want to add any text block, add any footnote, I can just double click on a particular cell. I can see the required data and I can add the footnotes also. Here we can see the blue mark box here. And I can add the additional information which has to be tagged as a footnote. And I can save it. Now let me take you to the text block tagging feature. So now we will go to single audit notes here. So here you can see significant accounting policy. Text block has been added. I will double click here. So here you can see the application was able to identify the textual data and it has automatically tagged it. But if I want to do any changes into this, I will just click on load report and I can see all the disclosures here. If I want to copy paste from the HTML document here, I can just copy it, and wherever I want, I can just review and I can copy paste. This way I can do the changes in the text block and then I can click on save button.
Sujit, we need to wrap this up quickly. We have a few minutes left only. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So this way we can just add the text block and delete the text block. And after reviewing the data, we can just click on generate button. When we click on generate button, the XBRL document will get validated. And as a end review process, we have the review copy. So when I click on review copy, it will give me the actual output with all the values. It will be an HTML output through which I can review the data, the final output, and I can generate the XBRL taxonomy, the XBRL instance. So here we can see all the values which are being tagged. Okay, so yeah, so we have reached the end of the demo. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Sujit. Just to add here, the system can generate both an XBRL or an IXBRL document, depending upon what is preferred. The IXBRL document would be a standard IXBRL output. It would not take the output as seen in the PDF because we are going through a process of using the web form, which standardize the output. But having said that, this application is primarily meant for agencies who are looking to generate an IXBRL document with the least amount of effort and with a cost point which is very affordable. We are expecting, if this tool is made available in this market, it should not cost more than, and don't catch me on, I mean, hold me to this, but anything between $1,000 to $1,500 at best per annum to be able to generate your IXBRL document. That's what we're hoping it to be, but we plan to make it as inexpensive as possible.
Thank you all so much. This has been a great presentation. We're excited to see artificial intelligence being used very effectively to reduce the burden on any kind of reporting entity. So thank you all, Anand and Suchita and Sujit. And we're going to turn now to our last presentation, our demo from Margaret Walthall. Margaret is with the University of Michigan, and she's going to walk us through an open source tool that they've developed. So thanks very much.
Hey, hello everyone. Sorry. Okay, so yes, my name is Margaret Walthall. I'm with the University of Michigan for the Center for Local, State, and Urban Policy. And in partnership with DACBON, we created a free open source tool that will convert directly from Excel right into IXBRL. So this tool, like I said, is free, it's open source, and is mainly made for small or uncomplicated issuers. It's very basic, bare bones tool, and it converts right from Excel and Word format right into IXBRL. Because this is pretty basic, it does not require any technical knowledge at all. So all you have to know is very basic Excel. And if you know how to spell, type out those things and type in numbers, then you should be good. And it can be adapted to work with any taxonomy and can be customized for any kind of issuers. Real quick before I get started, I want to read this disclaimer for you all. By using this tool, you acknowledge that you have read and agreed the terms of use. This is a research tool that is available for demonstration and educational purposes only and may contain errors. You are expressly prohibited from using the tool for production of official financial reports or regulatory filings. Data uploaded as part of using the tool will not be stored on a server and will be deleted at the end of the session. IXBRL output and downloadable HTML files will also not be stored on a server and will be deleted once the browser window has been closed. So with that, I will get right into our thing. Again, this is free. You can go in and play around with it. This is our site. And this page has all the much more information than I can get into right now about all of this. We also have a webinar and full tutorial, which if you want to see more about this, you can go and watch that on your time. And we also have a user guide too, so if you need more instructions. But with that, we'll use the tool, get started, which I already have open here. It opens up this window. And so as you can see, it's supposed to be very easy, simple. You have your download and then you have upload. So initially you're going to download an Excel template, and that is going to give you this blank template. The first page is the master information where you will put in your municipality, state, your end of fiscal year, if there are any business type activities or component units or endnote or footnotes. And then this will get populated through the rest of the workbook in each one of these statements. Yeah, so let's go to statement of net position real quick. So like I said, this area will be filled in with master information. And throughout this workbook, there are different sheets that coincide with different statements that are typically found in an ACFR. So obviously, this is statement of net position. And throughout this workbook, you'll see that there are a lot of cells highlighted in yellow and many highlighted in gray. So this is a color coding system where for yellow cells, those are ones that you will enter and put in your data, but the gray ones are going to be auto-populated and have formulas in the back end. So you do not need to deal too much with the gray ones at all. You just kind of have to know your thing. So real quick, we're going to go and yeah, pretend to do one. So there is a drop-down scroll thing, sorry, that shows all of the concepts in an ACFR, but besides looking, you can easily type in and say cash and cash equivalents, and it will automatically pull up. And as soon as I click on it, you'll see that in column A, it switched from choose from dropdown to ACFR cash and cash equivalents. And then once you go in here, real quick dummy demonstration, let's say $5 for governmental activities, $5 for business type activities. And again, in this gray column for total primary, you can see that there's 10. So you just add in your numbers that you already have for you, and you just fill it out. I also really quick want to highlight on the bottom GovFund balance sheet. For many entities, they have a specific fund type or specific fund type. And so there's a way to customize it how you want to. So there is this drop down. So general fund again, special revenue, fund, capital projects. And then in these box in D7, you can type in what that fund is called. So let me pull up a filled in one. We're going to keep with the County of Ogama in Michigan theme that Iris did as well. And for the year end date, September 30th, 2023. So as you can see, County of Ogama, and we have business type activities, component units, but we do not have footnotes. So going into statement of net position. Oops, sorry. So again, up here, that part is already filled in as it should be, so you don't have to worry about that. And then we have, all the line items that are typically found, or that are found in Ogama's ACFord that they reported out. So, and with all the numbers in it. And again, like we have said, we have the row, which is cash and cash equivalents. But to differentiate the governmental activities from business type, we have those different columns, and that will be shown later. So this is a very, very simple, user-friendly, non-technical skills needed template. And all the stuff for converting over is on the back end that you do not have to worry about at all. I also want to call attention to these red boxes, like in 27, row 27 right here. We can see that there is one for wetland credits. So obviously not many other municipalities have a wetland credit line item. That is something very specific to Ogama. And so this template also allows for a lot of customization. So let's get rid of it. So if we got rid of that title, it again goes to the choose from drop down. But again, we're going to type it in. What is that? Land credit. And of course, nothing comes up, which is understandable. But then once I press enter, it'll show that it's a custom, and it will keep that title of wetland credits. And then real quick, again, to show the governmental fund balance sheet. Like I said, the columns with the special revenue fund, and they have housing, ARPA, and opioid fund special revenue buckets. So those are directly called out, and it's very customizable for what you need. And another thing real quick, sorry, that you can see is you do not have to fill out every row that is here. There's some there, but you don't have to delete them. You can just leave these rows in, and it'll just kind of do the conversion and calculation on the back end. So once you have this all filled out to the best of your ability, you are going to save it to your computer and then go back into the conversion tool and go to upload, choose the files that you want. And you can only do one Excel, but you can do up to 5 Word documents. So if you have notes, other information. And so we're going to do these 3, put them in, and it shows them right here. You do not have, a nice thing about this is you can click and drag to move these files around. So that'll come out in a precise way that you want. So then you click on the combine and convert. Takes a couple of minutes, and to save us some time, it's going to show you this screen where you can download the file or click to view in browser. So if you download the file, it's going to show you this, it's going to give you this zip file with everything in it. But if you click to view in browser, it's going to bring this up. And just real quick to show you, so this is what we have. This is the typical PDF file, or this is the OGMA's official file. And so you can scroll down, you see all of the text and notes and everything. And if we want to jump right to the financial tables, we're right here. And again, it looks very similar to what you would see in a PDF for the financial tables. But one thing is that when you hover over these numbers, a dotted blue line box shows up. And so you can click on them. So click on cash and cash equivalents. And up on the right-hand side, there's all the properties that you can need. So it gives you the concept, shows that it is a governmental activities, and shows the value, the date that we originally put in, and that it's monetary, sorry. And yeah, it gives you all this other background information and has it all in there. So all you had to do was just fill in the name and your numbers that you typically have. And then if you click on the business type, you can see that instead of governmental activities, you have the business type activities tagged right there to show that differentiate the differential. So with that, yeah, I am done. And yeah, that is your review.
Great, Margaret, thanks so much. That was terrific. Really appreciate it. You can head backstage and we're going to go on to the next portion of our session today. We're going to cover some CPE questions. So I want to thank all of our demonstrators, and hopefully that gives you a good sense for the breadth of different types of applications, tools that are out there, and certainly more to come. So with that, we're going to cover a few polls. And while I bring this one up, we're going to go through poll number 4, which hopefully you should see on your screen right now. And this one is, which of the following best describes a standardized data tag? So is it 1, identifying information that describes a unit of data in an XBRL report? Or is it an identifier for a government entity? Or is it a label that identifies the price of a product? Which of these identifies a standardized data tag? All right, and while you're doing that, I'm actually going to go ahead and share my screen again. Okay, great. So just another 15 seconds for this poll. Then we'll move to our next one. And right now, hopefully you should see my screen and the poll. And we've got 2 more polls to go through. All right, I'm going to close down this poll and share the results. All right, so the correct answer was identifying information that describes a unit of data in an XBRL report. Okay, great. And most people got that one right. All right, now for our next poll, how significantly do you think the FDTA will affect your organization? Do you think it'll have an extremely significant impact, very significant impact, a significant impact, not very significant, or not at all significant? And of course, I'm sure this is going to vary depending on the type of entity that you are, for governments versus software companies versus academics. Okay, another 30 seconds or so on this one. And they're going to have one final poll before we move on to our exercise. Okay, so just another 5 seconds. All right, I gotta close this poll. I'll share the results. You can see that it's kind of across the board. So some of them not at all, and some of them extremely significant. So that'll be interesting to see how this plays out. All right, so let's go to our last poll for this portion. Okay, defining a taxonomy. A taxonomy contains which of the following? Concepts and relationships, XBRL reports or instance documents or financial statements? Which of those three answers is most appropriate? Okay, so I think just another 10 seconds here. All right, we're going to end our poll and share the results. And again, I think most people got this correct. Concept contains concepts. A taxonomy contains concepts and relationships. So thank you all very much. And now we're going to move on to the next portion of our presentations, which is our breakout exercises. So we're going to review the exercise, and then everyone here is going to be moved into a different room, to a breakout room. Room 1 is going to be Jerry and Mark. Room 2 is going to be Yossi and Stephanie Leiser from University of Michigan. Room 3 is Janine and myself. Room 4 is Anand, Christine Kuglin from University of Denver, and Margaret. So all of us have either been speakers, and given a portion of the presentation, or are new to the group here. So, and then afterwards we're going to reconvene and discuss how things went. So with that, I'm going to ask our backstage team if you can move us into our breakouts. But thank you, everybody. Wanted to see, what your results were and how things went.
I thought it was fun. A quiet crowd, but we did get 2 or 3 people that jumped on, and I thought it went very well.
I think, yes, Margaret did a phenomenal job. Great one there, Margaret. Yes. All the heavy lifting were done by the 2 women. I was a silent spectator.
Well,
So
as
are we on the main
it
stage or the backstage
We're
right
on the
now?
main stage
We're
right
on the
now.
backstage
Yes,
right now,
yes.
Stephen.
So thank you, Anand, for letting the world know that it is the women who do the heavy lifting. But no, no, I know we're on the main stage, and I teased my group that we basically had a Gen Z stare moment going on. So that was, yeah, but that's okay. We had some stars. We had Bob Hinkle, and we had Addison and Isabella, some stars who were able to step up and give us some answers. So it went well, I think.
But one question we struggle with is that the period type for duration for governmental activities. Why is it duration in one location in the hierarchy and instant in another?
The duration for governmental activities?
Yeah.
Well, in the statement of net position, actually, we had statement of net position that said it wasn't an instant, which the statement of net position is at a period in time.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
And why is it labeled as a duration versus instant, given the nature of the statement of net
Do
position?
you
Right.
recall which element that was?
Yeah, I can show you real quick if
Yeah, it depends on if it was like inventory or a prepaid insurance or
I
I think
think
prepaid
it wasn't
rent.
just the memo.
It
Yeah.
was in the context of property tax, wasn't it?
Just it was just the member, which can.
The members.
Yeah.
So the members, I
That's-
think, are always a duration. You're not.
Yes.
Members are
Yeah,
always going to
they're-
be a duration just because they're not what you would actually tag the value to. They're kind of an adjective. So all members are always treated like as a duration, I believe.
That's right.
Right. The line items for the statement of activities should be, for the statement of net position should be instance.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's correct. That's correct. It was just
That is, yeah,
confusing
that is a kind of
because
weird thing.
it was confusing given the nature of the financial statement that it would say duration when it's an instant.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Well, at least Stephanie and I stay entirely away from the words members, dimensions, or axes or domains.
Okay, well, you're on the main stage now, so now you're throwing those words out to everybody.
Oh,
So,
sorry, withdrawn.
okay.
I use very,
All right.
very-
Well, I want to thank, we're like running kind of short of time. So I want to thank all of our facilitators and thank all of our attendees for participating. Yeah, we had some, a lot of people were quiet, but some people jumped in, and we really appreciate that. It's a learning process, and we'll get there. So with that, I want to invite all of our facilitators to head backstage, and we're going to cover a couple of poll questions and then move on to our last portion. Thank you. Where we are going to, let's see, I think we're doing polls now. Let's see. All right, we're gonna do some polls, and then we're gonna have a demonstration of actually using the data. So let me find my polls. To go more here. Okay, so we just have 2 poll questions here. All right. So the first poll question, which I've just launched, is what is an instance document? Is it a digital dictionary of terms? Is it a machine-readable report? Or is it a fact in a financial statement? Okay, and actually we're gonna do 1 poll because I just realized that we have another poll to go, and then I'm gonna turn it over to Campbell Pride, who's gonna give us a presentation on using machine-readable data. Okay, just another 15 seconds. And actually, first, I'm going to show everybody the answers, because I think we did go through the answers in our breakout room, but I'm just going to go through those real quickly to make sure everybody has the answers on that. Okay, I'm going to close the poll down. What is an instance document? It is a machine-readable report. And let's see, I think most people got that right. Alrighty, okay. So now I want to just share my screen and show the results. Okay, so here, just fact A was property taxes receivable, governmental activities, and for the period ending December 31st, 2024, and for the city of, and I apologize, this should be Fort Collins, Colorado. Fact A was very similar. It was also property taxes receivable, but it was for component unit discretely presented. So that was the differentiator there. Everything else was the same, including the fact that the time period and the reporting entity. And then the last fact was assets and deferred outflows of resources. And this one was also for the component unit discretely presented. So it's kind of like, I think of it like a puzzle, putting the pieces of the puzzle together to represent a fact so that it's thoroughly, unambiguously understood. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to turn it over now to Campbell Pride, who I'm going to welcome on stage, and he is going to share. Okay, Campbell.
Hi, Michelle. Thank
Good
you.
morning.
I'm going to share my screen with everyone, and what we're going to do is we're going to walk through some examples of how we can use this data. So we've seen a lot of examples today of people tagging this data and the different tools that can be used to collect this data, but what happens to it once that information has been tagged. So we saw a couple of cases here. We looked at Ogama County, and this is the filing for it. Some of you obviously seen it. This is available on our website. This is the tag document. And what we did is we took these documents, and we have like a data store, and we take any data that's reported in an XBRL format, and then we take that and we load that into a database, and then we make that available for people so they can get that data and they can use it and do stuff with it. So we saw a number of cases. I think we saw in the demos, people were tagging, the different presenters were going through and tagging things like cash, a number of items on the balance sheet or the statement of net position. So this is it here. So what we can do is to take that information that's been tagged, and then we can take it and we can load it, and then we can compare this data, and predominantly to do things like cross comparison between years of the same county, for example, or to do analysis across different counties, or to even aggregate data if you wanted to. So I'll just show you how very quickly how that works at a high level. So we have a tool that we've created, just like an add-in to Excel or Google Sheets. It works in both, and it works exactly the same way. And you can use this. You can go and, if you've got Google Sheets or you've got Excel, you can go and download this plugin. It's called the XBRL File Data plugin. You can get it either in the Google Sheets library, or you can get it in the Excel shop. If you go and get it, you don't have to pay for it, it's free. And what it does is it basically adds an add-in, which then allows you to be able to select data. And we have lots of data in here. We have data for SEC filings. We have data for Federal Energy Regulatory Commission filings. We have some example filings for FDTA type filings, or for ACFAs. And we also have data for international companies as well who file. And so what this allows you to do is, I'm going to show you how this works. We can do things like, if I wanted to get data, I can set up a query, and I can ask for information. I can get it here, and you can see this is a function. But if I do get, what this is doing is this is going and it goes and loads this data. It goes and calls it from the database, and this gives you like what the query is that it's running. But I can say, okay, go and get me the data as well. And so if I do this query, it goes out and it says, what's the entity name? What's the description of it? So we've got City of Flint. This is the statement of net position. And then I said, give me what members it has. We talked about this. This is giving me business type activities. And you'll see there are here the component unit, the government activities member. This is all the stuff that we saw people tagging earlier, the primary government activities member. We've got the concept name, which is this local name. We also get something called the tree sequence, which means I can order this in the order that it appears in the statement of net position. So I can get that as well. This is how many dimensions, this is the value, what period, what fiscal year it was reported for. So I pull all this data back, and then I can just do things like, I can create a pivot table on it. So if I wanted to do some kind of comparison, I can just set up a pivot table. You could do this in Excel, or you could do it in Google Sheets. And you can set this up and say, okay, I want to order it by the cube tree sequence. I want to take these primary local names, and then I want to put the entity names over the top. So I can do it as a column, and I've got these cube member values, which are the different units. This is very kind of abstracted, so you can do it with any type of data. So I can see the business type activities, and then I can go through and I can see all this data. So this data is, if you look here, for example, cash and cash equivalents, it's pulling it directly from our API, and the API got it from the data that was uploaded. So if you can see here, for government activities, 3393 for cash. And if we go back to the statement of net position, we should be able to see these things. So it's not this, it's the three. Well, the right number. 3393, just the easiest way to find it. So this is the cash and cash equivalents, government activities, and this is where it's been tagged. So this is the tag. So what we're doing is, once this data is pulled in from these filings, we can get it into a database, and allows you to do all sorts of comparison across those different data sets. So this is just giving you a very simple example. I pulled this together really quickly the other day, just so you could see how you can do it, but it gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of all the information that you can get. So at the moment, I'm just getting it for the statement of net position, but I can change this. I can get it for different groups if I want. I can just structure that way. So for example, you can see here, this is the statement of net position here, but I can select other types of tables if I want. And this gives me like I can search on this. It can put things like net position, and I can search on different statements that I may want. And then I can get all this data back. The other thing I can do is not only get the data that's been filed, I can also query the taxonomy. And I pulled some examples together here. So in this example, you can see I've just gone and got, these are all the labels from the taxonomy, so I can pull those back if I want to get them. And you can see here there's like 5,000 labels in the GRIP taxonomy, but that's pulling that information. But then I can also do things like what I've done in this case is I've gone and said, go and get the statement of net position, and I want all the relationships in it, and then I want to see what the target name is, which is basically what's the name in the statement of position, what's the label associated with it, and I can get what tree depth it's at and what's the tree sequence. So you can see this is just pulling this data back into the API, so you can kind of link all this data together, and then you can use it to do analysis and work out what's in the taxonomy. And so it's effectively doing the same thing that you see a lot of these tools do, where they'll say, okay, I want to go and do a search and I want to see the tree view of the taxonomy. So you can bring all this information back into tools like Excel or Google Sheets or any other tool that can talk with an API and be able to use that data. So it's useful, and you can do stuff on the fly. This is using the statement of net position, but I may want to do other things as well. I might want to, if I want to do statement of activities. I think it's like timed out on me, of course, now, but let's just see. The calculation link. So you can do different queries, and then you can get this data back. Depending on, you can query anything you want and pull this information back. So here you can see I've got I've basically got the statement of activities here, and then I've got like, these are all the elements that are in there. These are the labels associated with them. So this is the full taxonomy, not any particular filing, but it gives me the ability to be able to say what's in the taxonomy. I can query that quickly. I can get the labels associated with it. So it's just a tool that's available, and if you want to use it, you can use it. It's freely available. You can go down and you can load it into Google Sheets. You can use it in Excel. And if you go to the store, you can see these, and you'll see it under XBRL US, and it's this query plugin. The main features it allows you to do, just so you're aware of what they are, you can get fact information, which is what we were searching on before. You can get entity information. This will give you information about all the entities we've collected data in the database. You can get information on reports. What are all the reports that have been filed? Cubes are like, what is the statement? So you can get all the information in a given statement rather than having to identify all the individual concepts. You can get labels, you can get information about concepts, you can get information about dimensions, which is like in the FDTA, that's things like the different business activities or component units. You can get information about what are all the networks. This is information in the taxonomy you can get. So it gives you a rich ability to basically get any information that's being put in these XBRL reports. You can pull that information out and you can make it available. So that's just a real high level. Michelle asked me just to give people a look, give you an idea of what some of the tools are and how this information is being used. And with using Excel, the amount of queries we've seen people using this API, they can get very, very complicated, but it gives you the ability to build complex models if you want to do that. But also it gives you a way to quickly look at the data and see what's been filed and be able to access the information in a pretty seamless way. So take it, download it, play with it, and see what you think. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. All right. Thank you, Michelle.
Campbell, thank you so much. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of close out the workshop, and we're going to take one more CPE question. And so Campbell, you can head backstage if you want. And let me just share my poll here. Okay, we have the final poll for the session to get your CPE. All right, and you should be seeing this now. Which term best defines what we call a fact? Is it a data point in a report? Is it a digital file? Or is it a digital dictionary of terms? What best defines a fact? And we have about 30 seconds here. Okay, about 15 seconds, then we're going to close this down. All right, I'm going to end the poll. And the correct answer is a data point in a report. So I'm just sharing, show that most people got that correct. All right. Okay, and thank you very much for joining the workshop. We're now going to take about a 15-minute break before our full conference program begins at 1:30 Eastern. So that's in 15 minutes, depending where you are in time, time zone wise. So please head back to the lobby and click on the join button to enter the next session. We're going to have a few opening remarks and then go straight into a fireside chat with Dave Sanchez. Dave leads the Securities Exchange Commission's Office of Municipal Securities. So thank you very much, and we'll see you back soon.